what's up? I'm PDevX. Today I'm going to show you how to install the new Rotor Riot Edition AG01 Gimbals into your Radiomaster TX16S. Alright, so before we get started, we're going to need a few tools. You're going to want to grab yourself a 2mm and 2.5mm hex driver, as well as a small screwdriver. And the first thing we need to do is open up the radio. You want to pull out your battery, as well as the module bay cover or any module that you've got in the radio. From there, you'll want to pull the grips off of each side of the radio. You can just pull those right off. I usually grab from the top corner and just give it a nice. Next, we want to remove these two screws in the top using our 2.5mm hex driver. That's just going to leave this part on the top with the antenna kind of hanging loose. We'll take our 2mm hex driver and we need to remove 4 screws. There are 2 located at the top and 2 located here at the bottom. From there, we can carefully remove the back cover of the radio. Now, depending on which model of the radio you have, there might be some wires connected to the back of the radio. Just make sure you unplug that wire before you pull the radio apart. And just like that. We'll start with this gimbal on the right, which is the left gimbal if you're looking at the radio from the front. The easiest way to tell which direction to install the gimbal is that the wires coming off of the gimbal need to go on the outside edge of the radio, just as the current ones are installed. Also, the little skull logo should be facing upright. And the left stick will travel freely, while the right one will return to the center. On the gimbal, there's 4 silver screws at each corner that we're going to remove with our screwdriver. You can see there's one here, one hiding back there, one here at the top, and the last one is in this top corner here. And then we need to unplug the gimbal here. Just pull this right up, and we should be able to pull the gimbal right out. We need to maneuver this wire around under there. They've got it routed through. So now that we have our gimbal out and we have our new gimbal ready to go, again, make sure that it's facing upright. The wires are facing towards the edge of the radio. And we're just gonna do the same steps in reverse. So we're gonna take our gimbal, we're gonna drop it in there. Just be careful of the potentiometer in the corner here. Right, and that's lined up. We're going to take our 4 screws that we removed and we're going to carefully put those back into place. You'll want to be careful putting these back in to not over tighten them. Just screw it down until it stops, and then it doesn't need any more than that. Alright, so we've got the new gimbal in. Next we need to run these wires. And they had them going under here and under this set. And that just plugs in right there. And there you go. And look at that. Ooh, that is very cool. Ooh, shiny. Just look at that. Nice. All right, I mean, so that's it really. We're gonna do the same thing again on this other side here, but ooh, these feel great. Subscribe to Rotor Riot. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing again on this side. Get those 4 screws out and probably just lose them inside. Pop this plug out. Ooh. Fish it out from under these wires here. And boom, gimbal number 2 is out. Wow. And we've got our second gimbal here. I think I dropped one in here somewhere. Ooh. There we go. Again, you want the wires coming off the gimbal on the outside, and make sure that we got a happy little skull guy here. It's face up. And we'll pop this in there. Again, we're gonna gently put these 4 screws back in. And the last one. All right, so we've got our second gimbal in there and it's looking fantastic. Just need to run these wires down underneath and over to our plug. And then we can plug it right back in where it was. push that in, tuck that down in there, and that is it. Time to put the radio back together. Just make sure to plug the speaker back in, and then when you're putting the back on the radio, just be careful. Make sure it's all lined up. Make sure you don't smash your pins with the JR module. There we go. Then we can put our 4 screws in the back. Yeah, just like that. All right, then we've got our 2 at the top here. I'll screw these top 2 down. And the last thing you do is to throw back on our side panels. They are 2 different sides, so they're not interchangeable, but those just pop right back in. Pop them back in on each side. And we are done. And look at that, they are beautiful. Oh, and they feel so good. Yes, all right. Okay, so the last thing you're gonna wanna do now that you've got the radio together is run through calibration, because the gimbals are gonna be all off. To do that, we'll go into the menu, page down to hardware, and on the inputs we want to run calibration. And just follow those steps, pretty easy to do, and then you will be ready to go.